Hey, it's Carlos. Have you ever felt like your man just doesn't appreciate you? Like he's taking you for granted? Like maybe he doesn't really value what you have to give him? This is a very common complaint among women. But why is it happening? Why is he treating you so casually? And how can you get him back to valuing you again? Well, it's what we're talking about today. When he doesn't value you, do this. Hey, it's Carlos Cavallo from datingfire.com and datingadviceguru.com. Welcome back to those dating and relationship secrets you need to know. Now, the first thing you got to realize is that there's two directions you can go with this. They're very important to understand if you want him to see what you have to offer him. But wait, before I show you those two directions, let me ask you an important question. Why haven't you dumped his ass? No, I'm serious. Why haven't you just dumped him and moved on to find some guy who will appreciate you? Are you really that afraid of losing somebody who doesn't appreciate you right now? This is an important question. I'm not just being flippant or being insulting here. I really want to know because it's an important question because it could cut right to the heart of the issue. If he started to change his attitude about you and you haven't done anything to correct him and remind him that this is totally unacceptable, guess what? He probably figures you're okay with it. Of course you're not, and you shouldn't be, but you have to remember that he is going to treat you exactly how he sees you treating you. So the very first thing you got to do is check in with yourself. Think about it. Make sure you're not accepting abuse from him. So my very first bit of advice is this. If this relationship hasn't been going on very long, and he can't seem to treat you with the appropriate respect and seriousness you deserve, the best and most powerful statement you can make is to drop him faster than first period French. No, I'm serious. Just do this. Just drop his ass and show him that you have high standards for yourself. The kind of woman that a man chases is the kind of woman who is ready to do that at the drop of a hat. She's ready to just drop him. Now, I'm going to tell you that I've only ever dated a couple women who were always on the verge of ready to dump me, or they seemed like it. Yeah, they were there and they were attentive, but they were always just a little bit skeptical, like I might not be the right guy. And I'll tell you right now that those were the women that I treated with the most attention and respect. Not that I wouldn't treat a woman with respect if she was deeply committed to the relationship, of course, but when I was with women that were obviously very particular about the man in their life, I didn't mess around. I knew I was in the spotlight and I was being evaluated. They were looking at my every move. And guess what? I behaved as a result. Now, perhaps this sounds a little too extreme to you, but realize that if you really want a guy to step up and perform, he has to know that he can lose you. So back to those two directions I was talking about again. Your relationship can go in two different ways when you figure out that he's not valuing you. Direction number one is to wake him up as soon as possible. And of course, that's what I've just been talking about. Now, you don't have to just dump him, of course. You can sit him down for a very serious conversation about his job performance. Show him his evaluation and his review and let him know that he's now on probation. Confident women who value themselves will know how powerful this is. I'm serious. Okay, and direction number two, the other way, is to give him a chance to start valuing you. And I'm guessing that's why you're watching this video. I'll be honest that this particular direction is not that much different than direction number one. A man has to respect the woman he's in a relationship with, or he will walk all over her, okay? It goes the other way too. You have to respect him. A man will take a woman for granted if he knows that she's going to let him do this. Every guy does this. Every person does this in some form or another. Again, it's not just guys. When people don't respect themselves, we find it hard to respect them too. The uncomfortable truth is that the reason he's not valuing you is because you let him. I know you don't want to think this, but it's almost always the reason that men start taking a relationship for granted. You're too nice to him. Let's cover a few of the signs that show you he doesn't value you. First of all, you're not his choice. You're an option. You're not his priority. He never stands up for you. He drops you at the last minute. He doesn't return your texts or phone calls. He doesn't respect your beliefs or values. He makes fun of you in private or even in public. He plays a lot of head games, including challenging you to leave him. Yeah, you ever had that? He doesn't seem to care when you flirt with other guys. He doesn't make time for you. He doesn't remember things about you, and he doesn't really pay attention in conversations with you. He's cheating on you. Your sex life sucks. He's a mooch. You're doing all the work. Okay, I think you get the point by now. It's usually pretty obvious when you don't feel respected. Now, what do you do about it? By the way, have you ever had problems with texting guys? You ever had them disappear on you and ghost you? If you have, then there might be something incompatible with how you're texting him. You can find out what kind of texter you are in my new quiz. Go on over to datingfire.com/texting quiz. That's datingfire.com/texting quiz. Go take it now and find out what your style is. Yeah, one of the most important things to do right off the bat is you got to keep yourself busy. If you're noticing that there's a disparity in how he's treating you versus how you're treating him, there's a good chance you may be obsessing a little bit over the relationship, paying too much attention to it. Now, I'm not saying that you don't have a right to be concerned. Obviously, you do. But if you start trying to implement some of these changes without getting grounded in a reality that doesn't necessarily include him, in other words, you got to be really facing the facts that maybe he's not as essential as you think he is. Well, if you don't do that, you're going to feel a little bit needy, and you may find yourself begging your way back into his world. And I think you will agree that that's just not the best way to do this. So keep yourself busy. Take time for yourself and do the things that you should have been doing for yourself all this time. When a guy sees that you're focused on yourself, you're making yourself a priority, and he isn't getting all that attention, you're giving it to yourself, he's going to want it back. He's going to have to earn it back. The next way to get him to realize your value is stop texting and calling him every day. Seriously, you've got to pull back from your texting game. I can tell you from a personal experience coaching hundreds and hundreds of different women, the number one mistake they're making over and over is relying on texting for communication, over-relying on it. Texting is about 10 to 15% of the level of communication that you would have compared to actually being there physically with him. Which means every time you text him, you're actually losing about 90% of the emotional energy and value. If you're the first one to text him every day, or if you're the first one to reply every time he texts, or if you're asking him if he's okay all the time, or you're always sending I love you to him in text, please stop. You're making yourself too available to him, and you seem desperate. He probably feels like right now you're a done deal. He doesn't have to work at all to win over somebody that's working that hard for him. If you want him to realize your value and your worth, you got to make him call you and text you himself. If you've got the balls, you know what I mean, the courage, then take it to the next level. Make him think he's lost you. Stop texting or calling him for a whole week. If you text him and he doesn't text you right back for a while, ignore him. If he texts you, ignore him. If he doesn't scramble to win you back, you never had him to begin with. You ever done this to a guy before? Let me know in the comments. I'd be curious to hear about that. Here's another way you can get him to realize your value. Stop doing his chores. This one is especially helpful if you're living with a guy. Just as, if you're doing a great job of taking care of him, and you probably got used to doing that in so many ways without even realizing it. You see, boyfriends and girlfriends will take each other for granted because they realize how much the other person is doing for them. And it's time for you to wake him up. Stop doing his chores. Stop doing his laundry. Stop reminding him for things. That's why he's got a smartphone and a calendar. He can do it. Stop trying to be so nice for him. Just let him know that you've got your own life going on. It was an honest mistake. And if he asks you to do something and you fall through, hey, you know what? It was an honest mistake. Sorry, just slipped my mind. Figured you could get around to it yourself. Let him realize how dependent he is on you for this stuff and wake him up. Hey, do you like these tips? Go ahead and hit the subscribe button and turn on the notifications. You can get these videos every week, and then you're going to know exactly when they come out, when they're released. Don't miss them. Okay, the next thing you need to do is to stop being so damn agreeable. Chances are you are putting on the same nice girl act that you give to your friends. You know what I mean. You don't want to seem disagreeable or look like the bitch, so even when you're pissed off inside, you're smiling. From facial expressions to body language, you can show him in a variety of ways that you're not happy with how he's behaving, okay? You don't have to be petulant or bratty or passive-aggressive, but you got to show a little bit of your frustration, a little bit. Pile up some of that laundry of his on his pillow. If he asks you to do something, just forget it. Oh, I know this one's going to be difficult for you, but that's the whole point. To show you how these little built-in guilt trips are turning you into a doormat. Remember, actions always speak louder than words. Sometimes a little healthy retaliation does get a little of the anger out of your system, and it'll wake his butt up. You can break a date, go out with somebody else, go out with a friend. You need to have a life outside of your relationship anyways. You can't just be hanging around waiting for him to tell you what to do next. Go double schedule something. That's right, the next date that you're supposed to have with him, accidentally schedule something for yourself over it, and then cancel. And yes, you can do it. Remember, the whole point of this is to get him to see you as being the one, right? That's what you want. Chances are you've already jumped to that conclusion within the first couple weeks of the relationship. Am I right? Huh? Now, I'm not saying this stuff to make you feel bad about yourself. I'm here to help you break some of these nice girl habits that are destroying your relationships and that are losing you the respect of pretty much every man in your life. Get back to pampering yourself. This is another way you can really show him that you want to be treated better. One of the best signals and biggest signals that you're losing yourself in the relationship is when you stop taking care of yourself the way you should. When you forget your self-love because you're too busy loving him, you have gone too far. And also, when your boyfriend starts seeing you taking care of yourself, he won't be letting himself be so distant and unavailable because he'll see that you respect yourself. Some women finally get to the point where they look in the mirror and they see the extra 30 pounds they gained or the unhappy woman they've become, and they make the decision to finally pay more attention to themselves. Okay, the next way to get him to see your value is just say no. Again, part of your respect campaign will be to let him know that you're no longer Miss Easy to take advantage of, right? Women who say yes to everything, and there are quite a few of them, are more likely to be taken advantage of by their boyfriends. And this is because these boyfriends know that as you're being his girlfriend, you'll simply say yes to everything, and then they stop valuing what they're getting. They get jaded. If you ever sense that he's losing respect for taking you for granted, try this on him. Just say no. It's just that simple to make him realize that you have the ability to hold a healthy boundary. If you think that saying no to him will put your relationship in jeopardy, you're not in the right relationship. Here's one that goes a step further. Give him a chore or two. That's right. One of the best ways to start pushing back on a guy that isn't doing his part is to give him a little extra work. Give him a chore to do. Just tell him, hey, I'm really busy with something. Can you do this for me? Send him to the bank. Send him to do the laundry. Make him do a tampon run at the supermarket. If he won't do anything for you, just imagine the next 30 to 40 years of being married to a guy like this. Then remind yourself that this is your chance to pull a time machine. There you are going back in time before those 30 years of misery that would happen, and you're getting a chance to change it. That's what you can do right now. You're fixing it. Feel good? I thought so. Hey, you know what? I bet this felt kind of empowering to think about. Isn't it nice to imagine the other side of the coin? Imagining that he's finally going to give you the respect that you deserve. He's going to value you the way you deserve. If you want a relationship that's going to last, you gotta make your boyfriend realize how important you are to him, or even your husband if this is the case. There are a ton of ways of doing this. Now the problem is that most women don't know what works and what doesn't work with guys. That's where I come in. For years, I've been explaining to women how men work, what men think, what we respond to, what makes us fall in love with you. When it comes right down to it, it's actually really simple. Getting a man to obsess about you is something that every woman wants. What about you? Are you ready to finally turn the tables, get him to love you and desire you the way you really want? Are you ready to start getting what you deserve in your relationships? Maybe you're not, but maybe you also prefer a relationship right now that doesn't challenge you too much. Well, I'm guessing that's probably not you. Maybe you are really ready to get what you want from your relationships. Go find out. Go onto this link you see below me here. Go on over to datingfire.com/obsession. Go find out what makes men obsessed with a woman. This is the key, the absolute key to getting him to really value you. Hey, if you're new here, or even if you're not, go ahead and do the big three before you run away. Like and subscribe. Get these videos every single week. Number two, you can turn on the notifications. Make sure you do that. Click the little whatever button it is now for getting notified so that when I release the videos, you'll know about. And there's another one coming next week. And by the way, if you're already subscribed, please share these with somebody new. I'm giving away these videos and I need to spread the good word. And number three, comment below. Did you agree with these tips I gave you? Is there something else you want? Do you want a part two? Let me know below. I do read the comments and I try to respond each week. Don't forget, wait a few more seconds. I'm going to pop a recommended video up here in the corner for you to check out. This is Carlos Cavallo. As always, live and love with passion.